Let's just put this into different buckets if we can, although you make the argument that it's all related. So let's just talk about direct government subsidies, per se. One of the things you point out in the book is that from 1980 to 2017, there was a 237% increase in federal spending on poverty programs. That's not a small amount of money. I mean, just in total dollar terms. So why is it that the kind of misery you describe persists given that level of spending?
Well, some might say it's because government spending doesn't have a real effect on poverty, but that's just wrong. There's a massive pile of research that shows that government programs directed at our poorest families are incredibly effective, even efficient. They prevent millions of families from plunging into hunger and homelessness every year. But they clearly aren't enough right now. And part of the reason is because we have not fully addressed the unrelenting exploitation of the poor in the labor market, in the housing market, and in the financial market. Let me just give you one quick statistic. Every day, $61 million are pulled out of the pockets of poor families in terms of overdraft fees, check cashing fees, payday loan fees, every single day. When James Baldwin wrote How Expensive It Is to Be Poor, he couldn't even have imagined those kind of numbers. And so unless we address that exploitation, we're not going to build sturdy, permanent foundation on which we can climb out of poverty for everyone.
Well, one of the other points you make, though, is that even with direct federal assistance, that in most places, actually, you say that the majority of that money doesn't actually get directly to people who are under-resourced, that there are only 2 states where a majority of their assistance under the TANF program, which is the main, used to be called welfare, maybe still is, actually goes directly into cash assistance, that most states, it goes other places. Where does it go? What does that money do?
Yeah, let's break it down. There's kind of two points that I think are important here. One point is that $1 in the federal budget doesn't mean $1 in a family's pocket. So you take this program called TANF, or cash welfare. For every $1 budgeted for TANF, only 22 cents ends up with a family in terms of direct aid. Why? Well, because states get a lot of leeway about how they spend their money, and they're really creative about how to do it. States have used that money to spend on Christian summer camps or abstinence-only classes, marriage initiatives, things like that. Many of these things don't have anything to do with reducing poverty. Other states just simply sit on the money. Tennessee, last time I checked, was sitting on over $700 million in unspent welfare funds. Hawaii was sitting on enough to give every poor kid in its state $10,000. So that's one thing that's going on. And the second thing that's going on that's important is that a lot of poor families don't take advantage of programs that they need and deserve. We hear a lot about welfare dependency, but if you look at the data, the bigger problem is welfare avoidance. The fact that families are leaving billions and billions of dollars on the table every year. 1 in 5 elderly Americans, for example, who could qualify and receive food stamps, they don't take advantage of that.
Why is that? Is it just too hard? That it's actually just the actual process of getting these benefits is just too hard? Or why don't people get it? Or because there's a stigma attached to it? Or because we make it humiliating for people to get it? Why is it that people don't get the benefits that they actually are entitled to?
Yeah, all that is part of it. And we used to think stigma was the biggest reason why folks weren't relying on these programs. But it seems a much bigger reason is that we've made them unnecessarily hard and complicated. We've wrapped these programs in red tape and regulations, and we may make it incredibly confusing. This is also very hopeful, though. There are studies that show that just like increasing the font or connecting people with someone on the phone can actually bring a lot more benefits to families that need them today.